So I just got done watching Funcom's 1-hour live stream on YouTube where they give us a sneak peek to the new content drops and changes they'll be implementing to Conan Exiles soon. And there's a comment that stood out to me when they answered a question from the audience. That question being, will they be adding an extension to the map or anything new to the map? Which they replied they currently have no plans in place to add to the map right now or in the future. And that's sort of what I want to talk about here, all while just showcasing my builds I do when I've got nothing better to do, or while I'm not stuck playing Fallout 76 or Monster Hunter World, which I highly recommend you get Monster Hunter World. It's an amazing game. Now they did say they'll be adding new dungeons when they can, in place of actually extending the boundaries, which is all well and good. With dungeons comes a wealth of new content to sink your teeth into, like with the last edition, the new Jabal Sog religion tree, new offhand combos with throwing axes and such, and the pet system came alongside the dungeon itself, breathing a bit of life back into the game as a whole. Now with the new additions coming into light, they're adding a whole new weapon type, the katana, which I'm looking forward to personally. It'll add new ways to play the game and a new weapon tree to work through, I'm assuming. Not only that, they're reworking the bow to be more efficient in trained hands, allowing you to actually draw and hold the bow until you want to release, making it much more reliable to use instead of having to have crackshot aim almost instantly while you're pulling back the string, forcing precision through a small gap of time, which was a kinda dumb decision in my eyes. Glad that'll be fixed, though, for the remaining player base, and myself. Might actually be inclined to make a bow build playthrough now. Also, throwing weapons have been reworked to where you can collect your thrown axes and javelins back from the environment and dead enemies. Not really my forte in Conan, but I can see the allure to certain players. Now that that's out of the way, let's go back to the idea of expansion. They seem to be avoiding the idea of adding onto the current map in favor of just adding new dungeons. And with the new dungeons, I'm assuming there will be more changes and systems put into place to sweeten the deal as a whole. What I'm wondering though is how many people are inclined to come back to playing Conan Exiles for just a new dungeon or system change to the current ways to play. What I'm personally hoping for is a thrall leveling system and changing their names to make them more personalized to yourself or group of friends. Of course, making the unique thralls in the world unable to change name otherwise to keep them unique. But why are they ignoring the idea of expanding the map? It's not like they aren't capable of an extension as they are now. Basically, the whole northeastern side of the map is virgin territory, just sitting there waiting for an unveiling. If it was up to me personally, I'd have a few ideas of what can be placed in this depressing blank blotch on the map. Number 1, a coastal biome, where there is sunken ruins, ships deep in the ocean, actually giving you incentive to use a breathing potion to explore them, alongside new underwater enemies, i.e. sharks, or even fantasy-based creatures, with a whole new underwater combat system. How cool would that be, right? A whole new system. You can go underwater, have a sword, a spear, fight, I don't know, a fucking mermaid or something. Be cool, right? Yeah, I think so. And my second opinion as to what can be added, a mountainous region. Deep caves, paths carved through and around them, giving incentive to explore each one, with treasure and lore hidden throughout. Base building in this type of biome, if done right, would be amazing, offering defensive positions, access to resources, and dungeons or caves to keep it fresh. There's almost an infinite amount of possibilities they could do with this huge portion of the map that just isn't being utilized at the moment. If they announced a new extension to the map, I'm sure the community would be extremely interested in the new huge piece of content that they'll one day be exploring, building, fighting on, or in. I believe it's on their best interests to work on something like this, to keep the community revitalized and excited about Conan Exiles. It's no secret that the player counts definitely aren't what they used to be or could be. And these current updates, and especially the paid DLC, aren't doing a good enough job breathing life back into the game. A good example to expansions and new maps is Ark Survival Evolved, although everyone can argue that Wildcard isn't exactly the best when it comes to timelines and keeping release date promises. They do good work on keeping their game interesting though, albeit in a long amount of time, making players wait an age and a half. Ark seems to have a steadier audience than Conan in that there's always something new for content creators to focus on. Taming new dinos, boss fights, building, breeding for mutations, and much more to keep the audience captivated. Conan has huge potential for growth. An untapped gold mine to expand, basically. How about a quest system? Instead of a notebook keeping track of your exploits like slaying something or crafting for the first time, revamp the storytelling in the game. Quests to kill this amount of this, to kill strong creatures terrorizing the locale, deliver ingredients to this person to get recipes or food items. You know, the usual RPG mentality. Not having a story-based narrative drives a wedge in between the player and the character you created. Your character is an extension of yourself, basically. You put yourself into his/her shoes and think, what would I be doing right now in this universe? What can I focus on to keep myself interested with that'll keep me strapped to my screen, playing Conan Exiles? Add more role-playing mechanics. Be a blacksmith, an alchemist, a farmer, things of that nature. How about a barter system? Allow players to set up shops to sell their goods to other players for coin. Focus more on an established economy where a player can actually go to an NPC and open a trade menu to buy raw resources or low to mid-grade weapons and armor. When it comes to thralls, how about villagers? If you make a farm, they could collect the resources and store them for you. They can go out and mine metal for you, albeit at a decreased rate, so it won't break the balance of the game. Something at least to make your built village actually feel alive, and not just a static ghost town. How about interaction? I see it more and more these days. An MMORPG comes out and the player interaction is limited to just running by each other or fighting each other. So the way I see it, to keep Conan interesting, expand on the lore. Start making a new piece of the map or go above and beyond and make an entirely new map. Expand on the role-playing aspects. Give the game quests given to you by townsfolk and other NPCs out in the world for unique rewards. Make player interactions more fruitful through trade and doing quests together. How about a quest where you go out into the world and slay a Kappa with like 5 times more health, and you come back and get a badass new sword or armor piece that's unique to that quest. So, in summary, more interaction, more feelings of accomplishment in new lands, or even creatures to sink your teeth into. And Conan could be an almost perfect survival RPG. At least I think so. I hope in the future we'll be getting more and more content drops and changes to the world of Conan, outside of paid DLC, mind you. I mean, I think everybody's starting to get a little tired of paywalls for, content you download through a patch, but you have to pay for to get a hold of. I can see a new map being like $15 to unlock, and that's just the usual these days. I mean, look at Ark. That's fine with me, as long as it's a big map. It has lore, it has a good amount of content to make that 15, 20, 30 bucks worth paying for. But that's far out on the horizon for Conan. I won't hold my breath, because I'm pretty sure I would die doing so. Just my 2 cents on Conan, and what I'd do to make it more engaging, if it was up to me. And it would bring in a healthier amount of players, I think. If you managed to make it through to the end of the video, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day and or night. Bye.